Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Western adventure on this Tuesday. I know some of you said we're not doing enough Westerns. Well, here we go. Episodes of Fort Laramie starring Raymond Burr, William Conrad as Marshal Dillon in Gunsmoke, Jimmy Stewart as the six-shooter, and the Tom Mix Ralston straight shooters from 1947. And we wrap it all up with the Challenge of the Yukon. That's all coming up on this Tuesday, 22nd day of April, 112th day of the year, 253 days remaining in 2025. Congress passed the Coinage Act on this date in 1864, which mandated that the inscription "In God We Trust" be placed all coins minted as U.S. currency. Boston Red Stockings defeated the Philadelphia Athletics 6-5 on this date in 1876 in the first National League baseball game. At high noon on this date in 1889, thousands rushed to claim land in the land run of 1889 within hours. The cities of Oklahoma City and Guthrie formed with populations of at least 10,000. The Voice of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, Pravda, began publications on this date in 1912 in St. Petersburg. In 1930, the UK, Japan, and the U.S. signed the London Naval Treaty in 1930, regulating submarine warfare and limiting shipbuilding. In 1945, after learning that Soviet forces had taken Everswald without a fight, Adolf Hitler admitted defeat in his underground bunker and stated suicide was his only recourse. On this date in 1952, the first televised atomic bomb test took place at the Nevada test site near Las Vegas.
18, 19, 20. 21 and there it is, that brilliant flash, that white light that precedes the explosion of the atomic bomb number 17. 40 miles away, a brilliant white flash, almost blinding with those rocket trails coming out of it.
We had a report from the telephone company that fed the picture from Los Angeles to where we brought it, all the way across the country. That reception was perfect all the way through, and we're delighted about it, of course.
Television pool feed of the atomic bomb test that took place on this date in 1952, just 163 miles south-southwest of where I sit right now, in Ely, Nevada. In 1954, the Army McCarthy hearings began about communism in the Army.
The average American can do very little insofar as digging communist espionage agents out of our government is concerned. They must depend upon those of us whom they send down here to man the watchtowers of the nation.
McCarthy, to his credit, I think he thought he was doing the right thing. I don't think he was doing it for politics. But my God, McCarthy saw communists under each and every bed. And it wasn't factual. It wasn't truthful. And McCarthy ruined a lot of people's lives that shouldn't have had their lives ruined. Army McCarthy hearings beginning on this date in 1954. Daytime television everywhere, don't you know? Now, the 1964-65 New York's Fair opened on this date in 1964 for its first season. President Johnson spoke at the fair, speaking words of peace and unity.
I prophesy peace is not only possible in our generation. I predict that it is coming much earlier. And if I am right, then at the next World's Fair, people will see and America as different from today as we are different from 1939.
The president also spoke about civil rights, not knowing demonstrators were protesting just outside the arena where he was speaking. In 1970, the very first Earth Day was celebrated. At a celebration 20 years later, in 1990, Tom Cruise spoke out about the environment.
If we make the environment sick, it's going to make us sick. Our future is our children's future. Our children's children's future. They're crying out. We cannot let them down.
So many strides have been made in the environmental movement since 1970, people don't even realize. Yes, there's still issues, but we're working on them. The event on the west lawn of the Capitol featured other celebrities, including John Denver. In 1993, the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington dedicated. In 1998, Disney's Animal Kingdom opened at Walt Disney World near Orlando. In a pre-dawn raid on this date in 2000, federal agents seized 6-year-old Elian Gonzalez from his relative's home in Miami. Elian's cousin, Marisa Lesis Gonzalez, had been acting as a surrogate mother to the boy, and she was outraged after the raid.
They banged on the door, they broke everything in, they came in with guns, and Elian saw all of this.
Meanwhile, Attorney General Janet Reno said the government tried to get the family to voluntarily give up custody and defended the decision to bring in armed agents.
We had received information that there were guns, perhaps in the crowd, perhaps in the house. It was unclear, but that the safety of all involved was paramount.
Probably one of the biggest blunders of the Clinton administration, particularly since Gonzalez now is a very proud communist leader in Cuba. And that's one of the things that will never be forgotten nor forgiven. In 2008, the Air Force retired the remaining F-117 Nighthawk aircraft in service. Passing away on this date in history, President Richard Nixon.
The American people will find in their history books in the future that Richard Nixon was the finest foreign policy president in this century.
President Gerald Ford with comments about President Nixon, who passed on this date back in 1994. Others who passed on this date include British auto manufacturer Henry Royce, also actor Will Geer, Father Hines, wonderful jazz pianist Earl Hines, photographer Ansel Adams, actor Albert Salami, humorist Irma Bombeck, the football player turned Army Ranger Pat Tillman, who was killed in action on this date in history, also singer-songwriter Paul Davis, Richie Havens, Here Comes the Sun, Joni from Happy Days, Aaron Moran, ice hockey player Guy Lafleur, passing away on this date, and a fella who you probably remember from Dancing with the Stars, the late Len Goodman, passing away on this date in history. Birthdays on this date include the wonderful, wonderful Glenn Campbell.
How would you like to be remembered?
Just for what I am. I'm Glenn Campbell, and I believe in God, and I believe in other people like the way you want to be treated, and to help others less fortunate. Music is really incredible. It's something it's a gift, and I try to do that. And wow, I'm thankful.
It's knowing that the door's always open and your path is free to walk. That makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch.
Campbell went on that final tour with his family, and it was heartbreaking. We saw some of the footage in a documentary, Glenn Campbell, I'll Be Me, and it was just heartbreaking, and yet the man still... And he was on stage with his family. He was on stage with his family. That was heartbreaking. Glenn Campbell, born on this date in 1936, passing away August 8, 2017, at the age of 81. leaves behind an amazing musical legacy. Also born on this date, Green Acres, Eddie Albert, TV producer Aaron Spelling, model Betty Page, and actress Charlotte Rae, all born on this date.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
An amazing, amazing actor, Jack Nicholson, turns 88 years old today.
I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it.
Nominated for an Academy Award in his role in A Good Few Men, Jack Nicholson, 88 years old today. Mel Carter, Hold Me, Kiss Me, Never Let Me Go. Mel Carter, 86 years old today. Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive, 75 today. From The Last Starfighter and Night of the Comet, which was a hilarious movie, Night of the Comet. Catherine Mary Stewart, 66 today. From Whose Line Is It Anyway? And The Drew Carey Show, the very funny Ryan Stiles is 66 today. Actress, comedian, TV personality Sherry Shepherd is 58. Asia's Songbird, the wonderful Regine Velasquez, 55. And from Pineapple Express, Justice League, and Aquaman, and Trials, Amber Heard is 39 today. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 22nd day of April as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday,
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
and we'll start out in Wyoming this time around on Classic Radio Theater with an episode of Fort Laramie, the one-season Western that was killed by Perry Mason. Going back 68 years, April 22nd, 1956, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
This is Peter Hallas. As senior editor of the Hungarian desk at Radio Free Europe, I write and edit material destined for an audience still living behind barbed wire. I know those people, for I was one of them. I escaped to freedom in 1956, but there are millions still in captivity. Radio Free Europe keeps them in touch with the world outside. Keep RFE on the air with contributions to Crusade for Freedom.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we're going to go back 68 years to a Sunday, April 22nd, 1956 from CBS, and this show was broadcast at 5:30 Eastern Time. And we will hear Raymond Burr starring as the Captain Lee Quince in Fort Laramie.
At the gallop, ho!
Fort Laramie. Fort Laramie, starring Raymond Burr as Captain Lee Quince. Specially transcribed tales of the dark and tragic ground of the wild frontier. The saga of fighting men who rode the rim of empire. And the dramatic story of Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry.
Afternoon, Captain.
Afternoon.
What'll it be?
Oh,
Glass of rye?
Yes, sir. Hey, Captain. Afternoon off?
No. I just came in to talk to Smithson about some freighting. Well, here's luck.
Well, now, thank you, Captain.
Thought that was a soldier's mount out front.
What's that?
Hello, Captain.
Banyan.
You surprised?
I didn't expect to see you here. Thought you'd be long gone from these parts, Banyan.
Gone, come back, and on my way again.
Huh? To where?
Oh, I think I'll try California, San Francisco this time.
I hear it's a nice place. San Francisco?
Even this place is nice when you aren't in the Army.
Hey, like a drink?
I don't mind.
Another glass here, bartender.
Coming right up.
How's civilian life?
Oh, you should try it, Captain. Nobody issuing orders from Washington all the time, you know. Orders telling you to do something foolish about some other foolish thing. I don't suppose any of that's changed much.
Oh, Washington never changes.
All right, gents.
Here you are.
Thanks, Quince. In for the day?
Oh, I'm on my way back right now.
Oh. I thought you might like to join me.
Doing what?
Nice poker game going on over there. They've been at it 2 days, 2 nights now. Now, that fella there in the Stetson from Montana, he's winning a lot. But he's getting pretty tired. I figure it's just about time for me to walk in with a good night's sleep. Don't you?
Might be.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. Just figure I'll have him wore down in, 6, 7 hours. About the time you're sitting horse at retreat. They still have that, don't they? Retreat.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the drink, Captain.
Captain.
Hmm?
That fella you were just talking with. Been around here 2 or 3 days. Don't seem to know what to do with himself.
Fill this up, will you?
Sure. Seemed familiar in a way, though. Soldier, was he?
He was in the Army, but he was never a soldier. Yeah, see you later.
At-ease! At-ease! Bright and shining for dress parade, soldiers. Bright and shining.
How soon, Sergeant?
They'll sound off any minute, soldier, and you just hope you're not late.
I thought this was a fighting out.
How's that?
Well, we had a dress parade last week, Sergeant.
And there may be another next week. I just want to hear wind going by me when that bugle blows. Just wind. When the dust settles, B Company better be all present or accounted for. Carry on. Company will make a good showing, sir.
It had better, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
The book says a clean soldier's a good soldier.
Yes, sir.
And Major Daggett goes by the book. All right, Gorse. Call the men in.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Gorse.
Sir?
Be sure Trooper Linley stays awake this time.
Company, carry ups, parade, hoist. Sound off. Battalion, attack, red. Reason, ho. Sir, the parade is formed. Take your post, sir. Dismiss the parade, sir. Parade is dismissed. Officers, forward. Guide, center. Turn. Officers, halt.
You're to be complimented, gentlemen. The troopers were well turned out. There are no orders to be published, so that's all, gentlemen.
You walking over to the mess, Quince?
Oh, I'm going back to the orderly room. Corporal Mercer has got some reports for me. I'll see you at the mess later, Meade.
All right.
Retreat parade is still just the same, isn't it?
How did you get on this post?
Pretty simple. Just told the sentry I wanted to enlist in the army.
What do you want, Banyan?
I wasn't lying to the sentry. I want to enlist.
You don't have any use for the army. You didn't while you were in.
You going to try to talk me out of it?
Come on in. Didn't that poker game turn out too well?
Oh, that feller from Montana, he wasn't as tired as he looked. He cleaned me out. So I guess I'm not going to San Francisco.
Men don't usually enlist in the army for just a meal and a bed.
Oh, that's right, Captain. You generally find a meal and a bed any place.
Why do you want to get back in the army, Banyan?
Now, once before, I filled out an enlistment blank. And I saw things asking me my full name and where I was from and how old and if I had prior service and all things like that. I never saw a line on one of them asking why.
Corporal Mercer.
Yes, sir.
Will you tell the doctor I have a recruit to be examined?
Yes, sir.
Here. Fill this out.
Oh, sure.
If you're physically acceptable, I'll swear you in tonight.
Oh, I got a civilian horse and some other things back in town.
Then you can go back to town and dispose of them. Report back here first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I hope you know what you're doing, Banyan.
I thought on it. Long time I thought on it.
All prisoner accounted for, sir.
All right, Sergeant. Dismiss the company.
Yes, sir. Company! Dismiss!
Sergeant Gorse.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk to you. We have a new man coming in today, Sergeant. Non-commissioned officer.
A non-com, sir?
That's right.
This company?
This company.
He transfer out here, sir?
He re-enlisted. It's Will Banyan.
Banyan?
Banyan served 6 years. He was entitled to 3 stripes coming in.
Captain.
What is it?
Banyan never could forget he was related to some officer on the general staff back in Washington. He held that up in front of everybody. It was kind of touchy then. Could be the same all over again.
That isn't quite clear.
Well, some of the officers didn't know how to take him. Neither did the men. He just got himself some easy stripes.
Easy or not, he's got 'em, Sergeant.
You asked me to keep this company running, sir. I like to keep it running. There's no place for Banyan and me both.
I'll see you after mess.
Yes, sir.
Well, there wasn't nothing else to do. So I left her right there. I took the first stage into Cheyenne. Then I came on here.
You were a civilian about 8 months then.
Yeah, 8 months, 2 weeks, 3 days, and 4...
Good morning, sir. Morning, Mr. Washburn. Banyan, you may be in civilian clothes right now, but you're in the Army again. Now get on your feet. You know where the mess hall is located?
Well, no, I think I can still remember.
As soon as you've had your breakfast, report to Sergeant Gorse. He'll take you over to AQM stores.
All right, sir.
Mr. Washburn.
Yes, sir.
Did you read the special orders this morning?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you notice that Will Banyan holds the rank of sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Then just remember you hold a commission. He's a sergeant.
Yes, sir. But I thought... I mean, you and Sergeant Gorse...
You thought incorrectly, Mr. Washburn.
Yes, sir.
Had your breakfast?
No, sir.
Come on.
Captain, Lieutenant Sivets and I were talking a while back. Sergeant Gorse isn't going to like another sergeant around.
He doesn't like it, Mr. Washburn, and I don't like it. But we have to put up with it.
Yes, sir. I'll remember that.
Housewife kit, bridle, lariat and hobbles.
Bridle, lariat, hobbles.
Picket pin, razor, mirror, soap, comb.
Right.
2 blankets.
2 blankets.
Bacon can. curry comb, collar ornaments, cross saber, Colt revolver.
Yeah.
Springfield carbine.
Carbine?
Canteen and mess outfit.
Canteen and mess outfit.
Check?
Check.
All right, stow 'em away, Sergeant.
Sure, Sergeant.
When you're squared away, report back here.
Sure. Oh, Captain.
Carry on, Sergeant Bannion.
Yes, sir.
All right, Gores, as you were.
Yes, sir.
Gores, where you putting Bannion?
Corporal Hunter, sir.
Can you put him in your quarters?
Sir?
I'd like him to live in your quarters.
I'd just as soon he didn't, Captain.
But that's the way we're going to do it.
Captain, I gotta speak my mind, sir.
All right.
No man ever come in this company I couldn't break in, but you're asking me to handle a three-striper that's got a general working for him in Washington. You're asking me to treat him like a sergeant when he ain't a good enough man to be a private in anybody's company.
Sergeant?
You told me to speak out, sir. Well, there's only room for one sergeant here.
Now I'm telling you to shut up, Sergeant, and stay shut.
Yes, sir.
That's all. Captain Quint's reporting, sir.
Oh, at ease, Captain. I have a request from Sergeant Gorse asking for transfer to Fort Lincoln.
Oh?
He gave the reason that he intends to marry a girl living in that area. That's a lie, isn't it?
He's not intending to marry anyone, as far as I know, sir.
Then it's Bannion?
Sergeant Gorse feels that Bannion's rank is unfair.
It is up to you to convince him that Bannion's rank was automatic when he re-enlisted.
Sergeant Gorse can't regard it in that light, sir. He feels that Bannion's influence in Washington helped him get the rank. Not only that, but Bannion's rating moves back the others a whole notch.
Your company could go sour because of him. I don't intend to allow that, Captain.
You'll transfer Bannion?
I'll transfer Gorse, if that's what he wants.
Sir, Gorse is the most valuable man.
We can't have this kind of discontent in the company. And Gorse has requested transfer. His rank and seniority in service require me to give the request consideration. I'll wire Colonel Thaler at Fort Lincoln today and ask if he'll accept Sergeant Gorse. I'm sure he'll be glad to.
Major, would you withhold that application? I don't want to lose Gorse or Bannion.
I'd expect to keep them both.
Well, I thought I'd talk with Sergeant Gorse once more. I had the impression once that Bannion's re-enlistment was a casual thing.
No man enlists in the Army casually.
Yes, sir, that's exactly it.
And I'll set this aside till I hear from you.
Thank you, sir.
Kind of peaceful this way.
Hmm?
I said it's kind of peaceful, Captain. I like this time of night best on a post.
You do?
Well, yes, sir. You know, I feel kind of sorry for Syberts pulling OD on a night like this. A cigar, Captain?
Huh? Oh, no, thanks. Well, I think I'll take a stroll. Like to come along?
I believe I'll...
Come along, Mr. Washburn.
Oh, yes, sir. Captain.
Hmm?
Is it true, I mean, about Sergeant Gorse wanting a transfer?
Yes, it's true.
Because of Bannion?
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Gorse is the best man I ever seen in his job. Be difficult to replace him.
It would indeed.
Evening, Captain. Lieutenant.
Oh, hello, Sergeant. Oh, Sergeant Gorse.
Yes, sir?
Step over here, will you? I asked the Major not to act on your transfer till tomorrow morning, Sergeant.
All right, Captain.
Chances are, in another outfit, you'd meet another sergeant wearing stripes like yours.
I guess that's right enough, but only one of us should be wearing them here.
Hmm? What do you think, Mr. Washburn?
Why?
In all fairness.
Well, I'm inclined to agree with Sergeant Gorse, sir.
So am I. And I think Lieutenant Seibert's would, too.
How's that, Captain?
You heard me. There's room for only one sergeant in this outfit.
Do I understand the Captain?
It's not up to the Major or myself to settle this. It's the sergeant's business.
Do I understand you, sir?
Yeah, I think you do.
Yes, sir. I think I do. Will the Captain and Lieutenant excuse me, sir?
Good night, Sergeant.
Sir, he understood you, but I didn't. I'm sorry.
He's going to look up Sergeant Bannion, Mr. Washburn, and the chances are only one of them will be sergeant by morning. Best man of the two.
Yes, sir, but who is the best man?
Sergeant Gorse has just gone to settle that question, I think. Yeah. Come on, Mr. Washburn.
Captain, sir?
Bannion?
I have a request to make of the captain, sir.
What is it?
I wish to be relieved of my stripes, sir.
I thought you might request transfer, but I didn't think...
No, sir. Not a transfer. I would want to stay here in this company.
I see.
Once the captain asked me why I re-enlisted in the Army. I could answer the captain now.
Go ahead, Bannion.
Yes, sir. I served in the Army once with a general back of me. I failed that time. I thought I hated the Army, but I came back because I hated failing worse. Does this make any sense to the captain?
Yes, it does.
Yes, sir. I told the captain I thought about it before I came back in. I knew I'd have sergeant's pay. I didn't know I was starting to fail again. I know that now. Last night, Sergeant Gorse explained some things to me. We talked it over outside the fort.
Mm-hmm. What happened to your face?
I fell off my horse, sir.
A good cavalry soldier falls off his horse sometimes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Captain. I don't mean to again.
Lee.
Oh, morning, Major.
Hey, isn't that Will Bannion and Sergeant Gorse together?
Why, yes, sir.
Where'd they fight it out?
Off the compound, sir.
Yeah, that's good. Lee, why'd you let Bannion re-enlist in the first place?
He wanted to. And he had guts enough to come back here where he'd failed and try again.
Yeah, that coffee from the mess hall?
Mm-hmm.
Smells good. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Fort Laramie is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and stars Raymond Burr as Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry, with Vic Perrin as Sergeant Gorse. The script was specially written for Fort Laramie by E. Jack Newman, with sound patterns by Bill James and Ray Kemper. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Jack Moyles, Paul Duboff, James Nusser, John Daner, Sam Edwards, and Lou Krugman.
Company, tension! Dismiss!
Next week, another transcribed story of the Northwest frontier and the troopers who fought under Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry. Little boys can be the most exasperating creatures on earth. They can also be very amusing and lovable indeed. A CBS radio dramatic series that makes the most of this fact is that delightful program called My Son Jeep, heard every evening, Monday through Friday, over most of these same stations. Focusing on the adventures and misadventures of the most normal of all small boys, the story of My Son Jeep is hilarious and heartwarming by turns, just like its hero. Hear My Son Jeep every evening, Monday through Friday, right here on CBS Radio.
A great Western show for the time. In fact, if CBS television had not sniped Raymond Burr to leave Fort Laramie and go to work as Perry Mason, it would have had another season or two at least. 68 years ago, April 22nd, 1956, Fort Laramie, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Aired nationally on CBS Sundays at 5:30. And we will take a look at what was in the newspapers of that Sunday, 68 years ago today, in a moment.
There's a price tag on almost everything. Whether you drive a shiny new 1952 model or a pre-war jalopy, you had to pay the price. And when you're driving that car, remember that speed also has its price. The price tag on speed violations last year was 15,000 killed and 500,000 injured. This year, thousands of lives can be saved if you and millions of other motorists come to the sober realization that speed is the biggest killer on the highways and resolve to slow down before you or someone else pays the price that must be paid for it. You can do your part by keeping within speed limits. At all times, drive as though your life depends on it. It does.
We roll on here on this Tuesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox by taking a quick look at the news headlines from this day 68 years ago, April 22nd, 1956, before we get to Gunsmoke. In Washington, President Eisenhower conferred with the Secretary of Agriculture, Ezra T. Benson, on the administration's plan to remove price supports for Midwest corn growers who overplant their acreage allotments. Benson told reporters afterwards he would announce shortly the support price that would be provided under the new program. President Eisenhower challenged Russia's leaders to abandon the wrongs of Stalin against other nations. He declared the U.S. would welcome the day when the Soviet government devotes itself to the legitimate interests of Russia. His words, prepared for delivery to the American Society of Newspaper Editors, read it as written also for Soviet Premier Nikolai Bulganin and Communist Party boss Nikita Khrushchev, who are now visiting England and trumpeting their familiar party line. Latvian refugees showered the touring Russian leaders with anti-communist leaflets, and thousands of boisterous Oxford University students lampooned them by singing "Poor Old Joe." Firecrackers set off by students momentarily alarmed the Russians and their security guards in London. But for the most part, the Soviet Premier Nikolai Bulganin and Communist Party Chief Nikita Khrushchev appeared to enjoy the demonstration. They beamed and waved and raised their arms overhead in double-fisted salutes. Democrats rallying under financial difficulties around the memory of Woodrow Wilson heard Senator Alban W. Barkley accuse the GOP of nearly a century of intellectual and political sterility. The former vice president went after the Republicans on both the foreign and domestic policy at a Democrat fundraising dinner in the National Guard Armory in Washington, honoring Wilson on the 100th anniversary year of his birth. President Eisenhower will huddle with Republican congressional leaders on Tuesday to discuss recent forecasts of budget surpluses and accompanying pressure for an election year tax cut. Blonde Margaret Truman, attractive in her beige wedding gown and veil, married to Clifton Daniel Jr. of the New York Times in a simple ceremony at Trinity Episcopal Church in Independence, Missouri. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the little desert kingdom of Yemen signed a military pact aimed at solidifying the Arab world. Egypt's President Gamal Abdel Nasser, King Saudi of Saudi Arabia, and Imam Ahmed of Yemen signed the alliance in the walled city of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and they reached agreement after 13 hours of discussion. A U.S. Air Force plane returned to Tehran from Cairo today with reports of having been intercepted by both Israeli and Egyptian military aircraft. The Egyptians forced the plane to land. The incident occurred where the plane was en route from here to Cairo last week, with government stationed here and their families. Adlai Stevenson proposed that the U.S. halt H-bomb tests to demonstrate its desire for peace and recapture the world initiative, which he said the Eisenhower administration has lost. Charles MacArthur, 60, playwright, movie writer, and husband of Helen Hayes, the actress, died in a New York hospital of a kidney ailment and severe anemia. The co-author of the famous newspaper play The Front Page entered the hospital Wednesday suffering from nephritis. His illness became known when it was announced that Miss Hayes had canceled a May 6 television appearance. Lenny Ross, 10-year-old stock market expert from Tujunga, California, made a fiscal killing by winning the $100,000 jackpot on a TV quiz show. Lenny promptly answered 5 questions about the doings of Wall Street to become the fourth contestant to take the top prize on the NBC TV Big Surprise show. Keith Funston, president of the New York Stock Exchange, appeared on the show to present Lenny with $2,500 worth of any stock he chooses and a monthly investment plan of $40 a month for the next 5 years. Both were gifts of the stock exchange, which Funston said was proud of the young financial wizard. Lenny said he planned to give some of the money to his charity, see that his grandmother gets a trip to Montreal, his father some new high-fidelity recordings, and his mother a tape recorder. Host of the show, Mike Wallace, yes, that Mike Wallace, asked, "What about yourself?" Well, he said he'd invest part of his earnings in a subscription to the Wall Street Journal. Those some of the day's top news stories from the newspapers of Sunday, April 21st, 1956. By the way, they gave the young man a kinescope recording of all his appearances on the show, and I've never seen those pop up anywhere. I wonder if they're saved anywhere. Really curious about that. Anyway, those some of the day's news stories from the newspapers of Sunday, April 22nd, 1956. We will continue in a moment with an episode of Gunsmoke from that Sunday.
Let's look ahead to 1966, and there you are in your beautiful new home. You've got automatic gadgets everywhere. There's a sparkling new dream car in your garage. The youngsters are in a fine college. All's right with the world. Is this just an idle dream? No, this is a real future that you can start building right now. A secure, carefree, prosperous future built with the United States savings bonds. In 10 years, you will get back $4 for every $3 you've invested. Join the payroll savings plan where you work or buy bonds where you bank. Start in 1956 to make 1966 the beginning of the golden years.
By the way, even in 1956, Sunday nights were still owned by CBS Radio. They really were. You had Indictment, a show which I think we only have one copy of, at 5 o'clock after news. Then Fort Laramie at 5:30. At 6 o'clock, you had news and the Gene Autry Show. Then you had Gunsmoke and commentary by Galen Drake. And then you had the Edgar Berg and Charlie McCarthy Show for an hour at 7. And then at 8, you had Our Miss Brooks, followed by Herb Schreiner and Two for the Money. The Mitch Miller Show at 9 for an hour. And that basically wrapped it up. Perhaps NBC's real solid show, Monitor, was on directly opposite. And, of course, they went on all weekend with Monitor. It was a great show at its peak. At its end, it kind of drizzled away because people decided they were going to spin records on the radio. And ABC didn't have much apart from local religious shows. So that's where it was. But you still had some solid entertainment on the radio on Sundays on CBS. So there you go. We're going to wrap up our look at this date, 68 years ago, Sunday, April 22nd, 1956, with an episode of Gunsmoke. The Indian Crazy is the name of this show from 68 years ago, and that was April 22nd, 1956.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed, thanks to Accuray. They satisfy the most. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Hey, Kitty. What's your hurry?
I'm late for work, Matt. I should have been at the Long Branch an hour ago.
I was just over there. The place is full of nothing but loafers. Why, there isn't a dollar in the crowd.
I never saw a loafer yet who didn't have at least a few pennies hid out somewhere.
Maybe you're right, Kitty.
Of course, sometimes you have to pull his boots off to find it. That's all in a day's work.
Mr. Dillon.
Who's that with Chester?
Yeah, I don't know him.
Look at the spread of that man's feet, Matt. He looks like a buffalo.
Yeah, they are pretty big, all right.
I'll see you later, Matt.
Okay, good luck, Kitty.
Mr. Dillon, this here is Mr. and Miss Jallup.
How do you do?
The Jallups has bought themselves old Mather place down at the head of Salt Fork.
Oh? Well, that's about 60 miles south of here, isn't it, Mr. Jallup?
Well, that's what they tell me, Marshal. Of course, we ain't never been there.
We're on our way now.
Well, you'll have a good neighbor down there, Miss Jallup. Bob Oren lives only about 10 or 15 miles from you.
Well, that's what they wanted to see you about, Mr. Dillon.
What?
We met this here Bob Oren right here in town today, Marshal.
Oh, did you?
Now, see, we paid good money for that place. But, well, my wife and me, we about give up going down there. All we've been hearing about that country. And we met this Oren fella down the Santa Fe Depot today. Now, he said 'twas all lies.
And they want you to tell them the truth, Mr. Dillon.
Yes.
What? The truth about what?
About them Indians, Marshal. Them Comanches.
Now, everybody but Bob Oren. Everybody says that country down there is just full of them.
And he lives alone. He's got no woman with him. But me, I didn't come west to get captured by no Indians. I've read about that. It's bad what they do to women.
I don't intend to expose my wife to nothing like that, Marshal.
And we want you to tell us the truth, Marshal. You're the law here, and we'll believe you.
Well, that was Comanche country, yeah, but it isn't anymore. I doubt if a single Indian's been seen down there for 2 or 3 years. They're all on the reservation now.
Is that the truth, Marshal? You swear that's the truth?
Well, you can go out to Fort Dodge and ask the Army. They'll tell you.
No, we believe you.
Well, you can believe Bob Oren. He's lived there quite a while.
All right, then. Laura?
Let's get going, Will. I'll brave it.
All right.
I've got to ride down your way in a few weeks. If you don't mind, I'll come by and say hello.
Oh, you'll be welcome, Marshal.
Pleased to see you, Marshal.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Ain't you taking a little too much responsibility for that, Mr. Dillon? What do you mean, Chester? Well, how can you say every Comanche in the country is on that reservation? I think they're taking a big chance. Maybe Bob Oren ain't seen none, but that don't mean nothing, not when it comes to Indians. They're chancing the weather, too, Chester. And they know it. Yeah, maybe so. But I'm glad it wasn't me told them. I thought the old Mather place was right in them cottonwoods, Mr. Dillon. Yeah, it was. Well, then the Jallups must have moved it. I sure don't see no house. Look closer. Yeah, there's something there. Yeah. Why, it's all tore down. It's just a heap. Mr. Dillon, it's been burned. They've had a fire out here. Looks that way. I don't see nobody around. No. Let's have a look. My, there sure ain't much left, is there? Well, there's this. It's an arrow. Uh-huh. Comanche. Oh, and there's another one, half burned. Oh, my goodness. Hey, look at there, Mr. Dillon. Somebody made a grave. It's fresh dug, too. But it's only one grave. It's not very deep either. Just a few inches. You gonna dig it up? I gotta find out who it is, Chester. Oh. You mean if it's Mr. Jallup, then they took her alive? That's right. Yeah, but Comanches wouldn't bury nobody, Mr. Dillon. No, they wouldn't. It's her. She's been scalped. Oh, ain't that awful? Yeah, we'll have to bury her proper, Chester. Then we'll ride over to Bob Oren's. Maybe they got him, too. Yeah, well, where's Mr. Jallup? You think they took him prisoner? I don't know, Chester, but look sharp now. We don't want him to get us.
You've heard Bobby Haggard whistling it on radio and television. Right now, a country-style version. Okay, partners?
Packs more pleasure, packs more pleasure. Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
It stands to reason a cigarette made better and packed better, smokes better, tastes better. And Chesterfield is more perfectly packed by Accuray. This electronic miracle removes human error in cigarette manufacture. So Accuray Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild yet deeply satisfying.
Yes, Chesterfield gives you something no other cigarette can give you.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. By Chesterfield. Mild. Yet they satisfy the most.
Let's tie him to the rail here, Chester.
All right, sir. Well, Bob Warren's pretty lucky. Doesn't look like them Indians been anywhere near here.
From the tracks of the Jallups, it was a small party.
Yeah, well, I know, but that wouldn't keep them from coming over here.
Only a big party will hit every ranch, Chester. Small one attacks and then rides on for miles before trying it again. Now, wait a minute.
What?
Now, there's footprints.
Well, there's lots of footprints all over.
Yeah. Come on.
I guess Arn ain't at home.
He's gotta be. Didn't you notice that saddled horse in his corral?
You gonna walk right in?
Oren! Hey, Oren! Marshal Dillon! Oren!
I told you there ain't nobody here, Mr. Dillon.
I'll look in the kitchen, Chester. He's here, Chester.
Quiet. It's Oren. He's been scalped, too.
A bullet hole in his chest.
So them Comanches was here after all.
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, they scalped him, didn't they?
Did you ever hear of Indians killing a man and not setting fire to his place?
No, I guess I never did.
There are 3 horses in that corral. Even drunken Indian wouldn't leave a horse behind.
Yeah, but he's been scalped.
Anybody with a sharp knife can scalp a man, Chester. You don't have to be an Indian to do that.
What do you mean?
Outside those tracks I stopped to look at. They're made by a man wearing boots. About the biggest boots I ever saw.
You thinking of Will Jallup?
Those tracks aren't more than 2 days old, and Bob Oren hasn't been dead any longer than that.
Yeah, but Jallup wouldn't come scalp a man.
The Comanches killed his wife, Chester. We don't know what happened to him, but my guess is he's alive. The Indians don't take male prisoners his age.
But that don't say he done this to Bob Oren.
Chester, there are only 2 people who told Jallup and his wife they'd be safe out here. Oren was one of them. Jallup's wife gets killed, he escapes somehow and comes here to take his revenge. He did to Oren what the Comanches did to her.
That's awful hard to believe, Mr. Dillon.
Well, he wouldn't be the first man driven crazy with grief.
Well, maybe.
And if it's true, I'm the next on his list. When we get back to Dodge, I got an idea Jallup will be there waiting for me.
Evening, Matt.
Hello, Kitty.
Sit down.
Oh, any coffee left in that pot?
Sure. And here's an extra cup.
Ah, thanks.
You look tired.
Well, we rode all night, Kitty. I haven't been to bed yet.
No, Chester came in the Long Branch. No luck, huh?
Ah, not so far.
You could be wrong about him, Matt. Jallup might be in Colorado by now.
Yeah, maybe.
He might have killed Bob Oren, sure, but it's kind of hard to believe he'd come to Dodge looking to scalp a gun-bearing U.S. Marshal.
Well, I'm beginning to think maybe you're right, Kitty. Maybe I made a mistake about the whole thing.
But somebody killed Oren.
Yeah, they sure did. Guess I better go out there and have another look around.
With all those Comanches on the warpath?
I know there are only 3 or 4 of them, Kitty. Some young braves who jumped reservation last week.
How do you know that?
I reported the whole business to Major Honeyman at Fort Dodge. He told me about it.
Well, even so, isn't he doing anything about them?
Yeah? He put a company of troopers in the field.
Sure. All they'll do is kick up a lot of dust.
Probably. Well, Kitty, I think I'll turn in for a couple of hours. I need some sleep.
That's the best idea you had yet.
When Chester comes in, will you tell him I've gone to my room, huh?
Yeah, I'll tell him that.
Oh, did you see Kitty, Chester?
Yes, sir, I did. I come in just after you left. I've been trying to catch you before you got to your room here.
Oh, what is it? Did you find him?
No, sir.
No.
What I wanted to know is, could I get some sleep, too?
Well, of course, Chester. I thought you understood that.
Well, then I'll go back to the office and lay down there.
All right, I'll come by later tonight when I wake up, huh?
All right, sir. I'll see you then.
Yeah.
Don't move, Marshal. Just leave that gun there on the table. This here's a mighty short-barreled shotgun, Marshal. I stole it off of Bob Orrin, and it's loaded with buckshot. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting hours. Busted in the back window, if that's what you're wondering.
No, that's not what I'm wondering, Jallup.
What?
I'm wondering how you got away from those Comanches.
Seen them coming. Climbed up one of them big cottonwood trees. They looked. They never found me.
You mean you left your wife to fight them?
I left her, all right. You betcha I left her.
Coward.
Terrible, them Indians. It was terrible. But I fixed Bob Orrin for it. He told me it was safe out there. Now I'm going to fix you. Going to take you right down by the river, Marshal. Going to fix you there. You just make one move on the way and I'll leave you in 2 big pieces. Now you walk.
Say, where are you listening to Gunsmoke? In your car? Getting ready for dinner? Oh, I see. Just relaxing in your favorite easy chair. Well, I'd say you're in a good spot right now to really enjoy a Chesterfield. You see, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. It stands to reason. A cigarette made better and packed better smokes better, tastes better. And Chesterfield is more perfectly packed by Accuray. This electronic miracle removes human error in cigarette manufacture. So Accuray Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips, mild, yet deeply satisfying. Yes, Chesterfield gives you something no other cigarette can give you.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
To the touch, to the taste, Chesterfield packs more pleasure because it's more perfectly packed. Buy Chesterfield. Mild, yet they satisfy the most.
Not enough, Marshal. 'Tis pretty down here, isn't it? All them nice cottonwood trees. My wife liked them cottonwood trees out to our place, Marshal. She liked them a whole lot.
Jallup killing me isn't going to get your wife
And
back.
she was scared, Marshal. She was more scared than me, even. And I'll never get over it. Watching them painted devils ride up. I ever see another Indian, I'll kill myself. I'm still shaking.
You weren't shaking so much you couldn't run off and leave your wife.
You betcha I left her. I couldn't stand the sight of them savages. Well, that don't matter now. See here, Marshal, got a knife in my belt. Good long knife, and you know just what I'm going to do after I shoot you. Don't you?
Be quiet.
Don't you tell me to be
Quiet,
quiet.
I said. Listen.
What?
There's something in that clump of elder on the riverbank over there.
I don't see nothing.
They're gone. You can't see them now, but they're out there. Wait a minute. They'll move any minute now.
Who will, Marshal? What are you saying?
Indians. There are 3 of them. They were standing right against the river.
Oh, no. No, not Indians.
Watch. Right there. You see one of them standing up. You see him?
Where? Tell me, where is he?
Shoot him, Jallup. Shoot him.
Yes, I will. I can't see him. No.
Give me the gun, Jallup.
Hit me, Marshal. You was fooling.
Let go of it.
No, My chest. Hit me in the chest.
I couldn't get your finger off the trigger.
Gotta die. Bleeding all over.
I'm sorry, Jallup.
Oh, I shot myself. I shot everybody, Marshal. I'm the 3rd one.
The 3rd?
Oh, I ain't a coward like you think. I'm scared of Indians, but I didn't run off to leave my wife to them. Not alive, I didn't.
You mean you shot her before they got there? You killed her?
It was terrible, Marshal. She begged me to. Begged me before they could get her. Ain't been right since. Not till now. Now I know I done wrong. Killing Bob Orant, trying to kill you, I done wrong. But I'm all right now, Marshal. I'm all right now.
Jallup. Yeah, I think maybe you are now.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad.
Chesterfield packs more pleasure because Chesterfield's more perfectly packed.
A cigarette made better and packed better, smokes better, tastes better. And Chesterfield is more perfectly packed by Accuray. This electronic miracle removes human error in cigarette manufacture. So Accuray Chesterfield is firm and pleasing to the lips. Chesterfield, mild, yet they satisfy the most.
You know, a horse and buggy frontier doctor was about the most useful and beloved citizen in any community. But next week, Dodge learns that a man has been killed and that it was Doc Adams who killed him. And that was the West. Good night.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. America's medical schools urgently need your help. Join the National Fund for Medical Education today. Write Medical Education,
Box 313, New York City.
Live modern. Smoke L&M.
Live modern. Change to L&M.
Only with L&M can you enjoy the full, exciting flavor of today's finest tobaccos through the modern miracle of the pure white Miracle Tip. So light up, free up, let your taste come alive. Live modern. Smoke L&M.
Live modern. Change to L&M.
Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke.
Sunday, April 22nd, 1956, 68 years ago, Gunsmoke here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Drama tomorrow with episodes of I Was a Communist for the FBI, also Inner Sanctum Mysteries, The 13th Juror, What Happened to John Wilkes Booth, and Pat Novak for Hire. That's all coming up tomorrow on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now, up next in a moment after some messages, Jimmy Stewart as the six-shooter.
Our religious institutions are strongholds of the American way of life. Our country was founded by men who had faith in God and who were willing to endure hardship and sacrifice for the sake of that faith. Today, the religious institutions in your community need your interest and support, so take an active part in religious affairs. Your pastor, rabbi, or priest will give you invaluable family counsel and aid if you are a newcomer to the community. To face the problems of the future, America must be morally strong. And that moral strength comes through worship and faith. Go to church this week and take someone with you.
We roll back a couple of years to a Thursday, April 22nd, 1954. Jimmy Stewart in a really great show, The Six-Shooter.
In a moment, you'll hear James Stewart as the Six-Shooter. Just one of many fine programs brought to you each week on NBC. Tomorrow night, there's top comedy entertainment with the Bob Hope Show, the Phil Harris, Alice Faye Show, and Can You Top This with Senator Ford. Bob Hope delivers rapid-fire comedy routines, while Phil Harris and Alice Faye bring both mirth and music. It's a great Friday night lineup of comedy programs, all of them heard only on NBC. James Stewart as the Six-Shooter. The man in the saddle is angular and long-legged. His skin is sun-dyed brown. The gun in his holster is gray steel and rainbow mother of pearl. Its handle unmarked. People call them both the Six-Shooter. The NBC Radio Network presents James Stewart as the Six-Shooter, a transcribed series of radio dramas based on the life of Britt Ponsett, the Texas plainsman who wandered through the Western Territories, leaving behind a trail of still remembered legends.
sure didn't look like I was going to get much sleep that night. The Prospect Hotel was right in the middle of town, and from my room I could hear just about everything went on outside.
Hold up a minute, George.
And there wasn't much I could do about the noise either. It was too doggone hot to shut the window. The sun had been down for a couple hours, but there wasn't any breeze, and my room being on the second floor, well, the heat just seemed to sort of hang there. Whew. Boy. Well, along about 10 o'clock, I finally managed to doze off. I wasn't exactly sound asleep, you understand. It was just sort of in between, you might say. What the Sam Hill is... For a second, I thought maybe I'd dreamt that shot. And then I heard somebody come running out of the front door of the hotel and jump on a horse. And by the time I got across the room to the window, whoever it was had ridden out of sight. Well, I pulled on my pants. I headed downstairs. I was the first person to reach the lobby. Sid Tucker, he was the fellow who owned the hotel. Sid was standing behind the registration desk, hanging on with both hands. Hey, what happened, Sid? He opened his mouth to give me an answer, but the words just didn't come out. And he started to teeter a little bit from side to side, and then he toppled over. And when I got around behind the desk where he was lying, I saw the pink stain across the front of his shirt. It was getting redder every second.
Anything wrong here? I thought I heard a shot.
Britt? Well, it's Sid Tucker. You better get Doc Prince, quick.
Well, sure.
Oh, yeah, and get the sheriff, too, if you can find him, will you? I managed to carry Sid into the dining room, laid him out on the table. I figured the doc might have to do some probing for that bullet in Sid's belly. And if Sid was in a good hard surface, he'd have a little easier time handling him. By this time, everybody in the hotel was crowding around saying what was wrong. Sid was still breathing, but there was a kind of a raspy noise with every breath he took, and the bleeding was worse than ever. He was bad off, all right, no doubt about that. Well, it was about 10 minutes before Doc Prince got there. It seemed a lot longer, of course, but
let me through here.
Just about that time.
Now, just go on back to bed, everybody. Go on now. There's nothing you can do here. You'd just be in my way. Please, go on now. You stick around, Britt, if you don't mind.
What?
Well, I might need somebody to help hold him down.
Oh, sure.
Sid's going to be all right, ain't he, Doc? Well, I haven't even had a chance to examine him yet. Oh, now, come on, folks. Outside, please, outside. I'll let you know what his prospects are as soon as I find out myself.
I'm afraid that's not much of a bandage, Doc, but it's the best I could do under the circumstances.
Sure, Britt. Looks like the bullet may have hit a kidney. Now, I told you, folks... Oh, hello, Sheriff.
Howdy, Doc. Britt.
Oh, Sam.
How is he?
Not good, Sam. Not good at all. He's lost a lot of blood, and he's hemorrhaging pretty bad.
You around when it happened, Britt?
No, I heard a shot, and I came downstairs as fast as I could, but he was alone when I got here.
Stop him. Well, I'm not going to be able to do any digging for that bullet now. It's in too deep.
Listen, it sounds like he's coming to.
Yeah.
Doc, is it all right for me to try and talk to him?
Well, I reckon it won't make much difference one way or the other.
Now, Sid.
I got an awful pain in my belly. What? Here, now, you just lie there easy, Sid. Don't do no moving around.
Hurts bad, Doc. Awful bad. Yeah, now, you've been shot, Sid.
Shot?
You remember anything about it?
No, Sheriff. I'm afraid I don't. Oh, yeah, I recollect.
Yeah?
He told me to give him the box. A tin box with the money the folks asked me to keep for him. You know who it was? Your money, Britt. Your cash is in that box. 50. No, don't worry yourself about that.
Did you recognize him, Sid?
What?
The fellow who shot you. Did you get a look at him?
John Stringer.
Stringer, huh?
Must have been him. These ways, he sure resembled that fella on the wanted posters on the wall here.
Sid?
He's not going to answer no more questions, Sam.
Yeah. You think it was Stringer, Sam?
Well, could have been. I didn't know he was in these parts, but it's a kind of hold-up murder he's pulled before.
Yeah?
Guess there's only one way to find out for certain. Let's go, Britt.
What?
Pick up his trail if we can.
Yeah, but...
You'll come with me, won't you?
Well, sure, Sam, if you think you need me, but there are plenty of local residents who make up a posse without
I'm not taking a posse, Britt. Might be morning before I could get one together, and by then his trail would be cold. Stringer rides alone usually. I reckon the two of us can handle him. Your horse in the stable?
Yeah.
Well?
All right, Sam. I'll get Scar and meet you out in front, huh? I'd heard about Johnny Stringer. He'd killed his first man when he was only 14 years old, and they said he'd managed at least one more every year since. He's still young, though, 21, 22. Supposed to be a handsome boy with black curly hair, brown eyes, and a little scar on the side of his neck from a gunfight somewhere near Salt Lake City. I'd never met up with him in person. As a matter of fact, this was further south than he usually strayed. That is, if it was Stringer who'd killed Sid Tucker. Well, we got our horses, Sam and I, and started looking for the trail. The fellow I'd heard ride off just after the shooting had been heading east toward the Furnace Hills, so we rode out that way. There was a lot of moon, and after milling around 15, 20 minutes, we spotted some fresh tracks along the creek at the edge of town. Of course, we still had no reason to be certain that this was the right trail. Hold on a minute, Sam. Whoa, Scar, whoa.
What's the matter, Britt? Who?
Look, over there beside that cactus. What's that look like to you?
I don't see any. Oh, yeah.
Easy, boy. Easy.
That's the tin box Sid was talking about?
Yeah, the kid must have shot the lock open.
Empty, huh?
Yeah.
Probably got tired carrying it.
Mm-hmm.
Hotel should have had a safe. Been telling Sid Tucker that for years.
Yeah, well, this box always served the same purpose.
Up till now.
Yeah, up till now.
Sid said he was keeping some of your money for you.
Yeah, a couple of months' pay.
That's too bad.
Oh, well, I'll get over it. Sid won't. Well, there's no point hanging on to this anymore, I guess.
At least we know we're on the right track, Britt.
Yeah, that's something. All right, Scar, let's go. Well, he had an hour's head start, maybe more. And we had to take it pretty slow to be sure we wouldn't lose the trail. So it didn't seem like we had much chance of catching up to him. Not very soon, anyhow. But then just about dawn, when the eastern sky started to show a few slivers of orange and yellow, those tracks we were following took on a different look.
Britt?
Uh-huh.
You see now? Something must have happened to his horse.
Yeah.
Feels like maybe he went lame.
Yeah, sure does, doesn't it?
You see here, Britt? You see? Oh, boy. Must have stopped to rest for a spell.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, boy. Don't seem like it did much good, though. Horse was lamer than ever when they started up again.
He couldn't have been making very much time from here on, that's for sure.
Yeah. Better keep our eyes open. Might be running into him any minute.
We were in the Furnace Mountains now, and the sun was coming up hot. Oh, this is going to be another scorcher, all right. You could feel everything start to warm up already. The trail we were following showed more and more signs that the horse was in pretty bad shape. And the places where he'd stopped to rest were getting closer and closer together until finally we saw the fellow on the saddle had just given up trying to ride and started moving out ahead on foot.
Oh.
Easy, Scar. Easy.
Might as well leave the horses here, Britt. You can't be much further now.
Yeah. Sam. Hey, over there in the cabin on the side of the ravine there.
Uh-huh.
Know whose it is?
No, I ain't never been on this slope before.
Well, somebody's living there. From the looks of that smoke, I'd say they're cooking breakfast.
Let's close in.
We started up the side of the ravine, moving slow, keeping to the rocks for cover. It wasn't until we were about 20 yards away that I noticed the barn. Sitting in front of a clump of trees across a little clearing, we swung a little to our left. If we could just get over to the barn without anybody seeing us, then we could move into the cabin itself. But we were still in a place, and we had to get past that clearing first.
He ain't spotted us, Britt.
I guess not. If he's really here.
Look at those tracks leading into the barn. Same horse we've been following. I'd stake my life on it.
Yeah, they do look kind of familiar.
Best thing we can do now is rush the back door to the cabin. If it's unlocked, we can be inside before he even knows what's happened. If it ain't, we'll have to shoot our way in.
All right, Sam. You're calling the turn. It was about 30, 40 feet from the barn to the cabin itself. Sam rocked back on his heels and he gave a lunge forward. He was a big man, but he sure couldn't move plenty fast. All I could do to keep up with him. The back door was unlocked, all right, and we charged inside like a couple of Texas steers.
Get your hands up. Get them up quick.
Mother, the careless.
Well, who are you?
Who are you? What are you doing here? Why'd you break in like this?
Well, now, we don't mean any trouble, miss.
Then why did you come?
Well...
You think to rob me, no? Well, I have nothing to steal. You have picked the wrong cabin, senor.
Yeah. Sort of looks like maybe we have.
We'll return to James Stewart as the six-shooter in just a moment. Not all careless drivers have accidents, but many such careless drivers cause accidents. A woman driver who drives slowly down Main Street while doing a little window shopping is a menace. So is the man who insists on telling the people in the back seat of his car about his poker game last week. It's no wonder that ordinarily cautious drivers start to lose their tempers and take dangerous chances to pass these careless drivers. When an accident results, the person who caused the accident probably won't even be touched. So the National Safety Council says if you want to window shop, get out and walk. If you are too busy describing one of your sterling feats to pay any attention to traffic, get out and walk. The driver's license you have does not give you the right to endanger the lives of your passengers or other human beings. Driving can be dangerous. Keep your mind on what you're doing, or walk. Act 2 of The Six Shooter, starring James Stewart as Britt Ponsett.
Well, she was a real pretty girl. About 20, jet black hair and black eyes that sort of flashed sparks when she talked. At least they were flashing sparks at us for a while. But finally we managed to get her quieted down. We explained that we weren't trying to rob her. We were just looking for an outlaw who was somewhere in these parts.
No. I have seen no one.
You're sure about that?
See, there has been nobody. Last night, last week, nobody.
You live here all alone?
This cabin belonged to my father, Alfredo Mendez. He's dead now. 6 months. I live alone.
It must be kind of lonely, a young girl like you.
I'm busy. I take care of cows. I plant seeds. There will be food for winter.
Well, I think I'll take a look around outside. The barn, maybe.
Well, you look there. I tell you, there's no one.
Yeah, that's what you told us.
Want me to go with you, Sam?
No. You might check the rest of the cabin, though, Britt.
Sure.
You think I lie? You think I would protect this bandito you tell me about? I am Maria Gonzalez Mendez. I do not lie.
All right. Now, don't get excited, Maria. If he should be in this neighborhood and you didn't know about it, well, it'd be for your own good if we turned him up, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
See, I guess so. But your friend, he does not trust me.
Well, Sam's a sheriff. He can't afford to take chances. You mind showing me the rest of the place here?
If you like. This is the main room. You call it the parlor.
Here is where I sleep.
What's that door over there?
The bedroom of my father.
Oh.
It is still as it was when he...
Yeah.
You're satisfied?
I'm satisfied Stringer isn't in the cabin, Maria.
You're like your friend. You do not trust me either. Why would I hide this man if he's what you say he is?
I sure don't know.
He killed someone last night?
That's right.
You did not see him do it.
No, but the man he shot, well, he recognized Stringer.
Stringer? It is a funny name.
Yeah.
I never heard of him.
Well, he's pretty well known. This isn't his only killing by a whole lot.
Has nothing to do with me.
He's not in here, Sam.
Yeah. Well, he's not in the barn either. But his horse is.
What?
No, senor, no. It is my horse, the one you saw.
I suppose you've been riding him all night, huh?
I do not know what you mean.
Well, somebody's sure been giving him a workout. They even rode him after he went lame, too. Now, why don't you start telling us the truth for a change? How about it?
It does not matter. He has gone. I get to him another pony and he rides away. Long before you get here, he is gone.
Well, now I'll be...
You will never catch him now. That is why I pretend I think you want to rob me when you come.
Might have known.
But he has killed no one. And his name, it is no Stringer. It is Johnny Davis. He tells me that you will look for him and that you will blame him for things he does not do.
Sure, that's what he told you, and you had to believe him, didn't you?
He would not lie to me.
Well, I guess you ain't the first senorita that got taken in by Johnny Stringer. Even his wife. He's talked her into putting up with him on and off for the last 5 years, and she's supposed to be a pretty decent girl.
His wife?
That's right, Maria. Johnny's married. Has been since he was, 18 or so.
It is not my concern, this Johnny Stringer.
It isn't, huh? Your friend Davis, has he got black hair, curly black hair?
Many men have black hair.
And many men don't have a scar on their neck. Right here.
A scar?
We're just wasting time, Britt. We got a trail to pick up.
Yeah.
Wait. You lied to me about this scar. You tried to make me think that my Juanito is the same man you look for. You lie about him.
I told you the truth, Maria.
But he could not be married. No, it is not so. He's promised to marry me.
How long has Stringer been staying here?
No, senor. He's not Stringer. His name is Davis. Johnny Davis.
How long has he been here?
2 weeks. He stays in my father's room 2 weeks. I find him with a bullet in his leg. He's hurt. I make him well. He says he loves me.
Yeah.
He goes yesterday to arrange for the wedding.
He couldn't marry you, Maria. If he did, it wouldn't be a real marriage.
No, senor, no. He says he loves me. It is so. I feel it in my heart. If he does not have love for me, I would know.
Britt.
Yeah?
He's got a fresh horse. We'd better get moving.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
He is no horse, senor.
What?
The man with his car, he has no horse.
Where is he, Maria?
You tried to fool me that he's married, that he has a wife. You make this up to fool me.
Where is he?
The barn.
But I already...
The loft of the barn, that is where he hides, the loft. Now I have told you the truth. You must...
Yeah?
You must tell me the truth about Johnny. There's no reason to fool me any longer. You must tell me the truth.
And it is the truth, Maria. All of it. And I'm sorry.
You ready, Britt?
Yeah, I'm ready. We walked outside. We didn't draw our guns. We just strode along as though we were going to go right past the barn. And when we got even with the door, Sam nodded, and we took a couple of quick steps and pressed flat against the building.
Stringer? We know you're in there. Stringer!
Sam waited a minute or so, and then we started inching toward the open door. I took my cue from him, and I started moving in the opposite direction. He was up there all right. And he was in a good position to cover that door, too, if either one of us so much as got near it.
We ain't in no hurry, Stringer. We can wait.
You wait a long time, mister.
Sam? Yeah? Is there any other way of getting inside? Round the back, maybe?
There's a window, but it's too small to crawl through.
Isn't that he's using up a lot of bullets?
Trouble is, we don't know how many loads he's carrying.
Yeah.
Guess we'll just have to try smoking him out. Ain't no breeze. Ought to be safe enough.
What about the horse?
He's just inside the door. He ain't tied up or nothing. He'll come out before it gets too bad.
Okay. I'll go around and back. I managed to get to the rear of the barn by hugging the sides of the building and keep out of range. Every once in a while, I could hear Stringer get off another shot. But he was still aiming towards Sam, trying to make sure that we didn't rush him. I found some dry brush and pushed it up against the barn. And then I broke through the window with the butt of my gun. And that told Stringer where I was, and he sure didn't like it. I flattened down, and I stayed that way until I got a handful of brush burning. And then I raised up a couple of inches and then threw it inside. I didn't know whether it would catch or not. So I stayed there where I was so I could be sure. Yeah, I must have been lucky. It had hit some rags and papers. Anyway, a good steady stream of smoke was pouring out the broken window, and Stringer would have to start moving out pretty soon. He wasn't doing any shooting, so I made my way around the front again. The smoke was starting to come out the door, and the whole inside of the barn was filled up with it. You never know about a horse during a fire. Some of them would just stand right in the middle of it and not make a move to save themselves. There was only one direction Maria's pony could head, and that was outside, so he finally put his nose down, he counted, galloping past. About a minute later, Stringer followed his example. He was holding a bandana over his mouth with one hand, and the other hand was stuck up in the air. We were both covering him, Sam and me. It didn't look like we had anything to worry about. And then I saw a flicker of metal behind that bandana. But before I could do anything about it...
What is it?
She ran in front of us and threw herself in his arms.
I figured you wouldn't let me down, honey.
He pulled her tight against him, and the bandana fell away from the revolver he was holding.
All right, gents, drop him. I said drop him, unless you want to shoot her in the back.
Johnny.
Drop him, I said. And I ain't going to wait much longer.
Okay, Stringer.
You too, mister. Now, honey, just stay close to me. We're getting out of here.
Will you take me, Johnny?
What's the difference?
You take me to get married like you promised? Remember, Johnny, you promised me this will be our wedding.
Sure, I remember, but we got other things to think about now. Where'd they leave their horses, Maria? Did they tell you?
I got on my mother's white dress. The dress she was married.
Yeah.
I pressed it nice. The lace. I look very pretty, Johnny.
Oh, shut up. What about their horses?
Why don't you tell her you won't marry her, Stringer? That you can't, even if you wanted to.
I wouldn't do a lot of talking if I was you, mister.
Tell her about your wife in Utah and some of the other girls who helped you over a tight spot. You're not the first, Maria, not by a long shot.
I warned you, mister. I told you.
He says, why do you care, Johnny, if they are not true? But they are true. Aren't they, Johnny?
I never said they was true.
You don't have to say. I know. In my mother's white dress with the lace. I will not wear it today.
What if I am married? That doesn't mean that we can't.
Maria. For a second, I didn't realize what had happened. Stringer was staring at Maria like he'd never seen her before, and then he started to raise the revolver he was holding, his finger on the trigger, but he never finished squeezing it. He slid out of Maria's arms and fell face down on the dirt. It was a small knife with a fancy silver handle, buried deep in his back, right between his shoulder blades.
You will want to take me with you now. Not Juanito. But I would like to change my dress first. I think I would like to wear the white one with the lace. After all.
Well, we waited around till we were sure the fire was out, and then we took Maria back to Prospect. I don't know whether what she'd done was murder or not. Stringer was holding a gun on us. Maybe she saved our lives. And he sure had it coming to him. There wasn't much doubt about that. I gave Judge Ricker a statement, and then I left Prospect. I guess if there was a trial, Maria must have come out of it all right. At least I hope so.
Research has become pretty familiar to all of us in the last 10 years or so. But have you ever stopped to think what research, especially medical research, means to you personally? Without research, we would have no penicillin or any of the other wonder drugs. Research is also the most important weapon in the fight against mental illness. And mental illness today afflicts more than 9 million people. Already, research has opened up leads for preventing many mental illnesses. And research has shown us speedier and more effective ways of helping mentally sick people to get well. Research scientists say we can be hopeful, but they need help from us. They need money to carry on research. If we help science, science can give us a much better chance to escape mental illness and to cure mental illness if it should strike. If you'd like to help, give to the Mental Health Fund in care of your local postmaster. Just address Mental Health Fund in care of your local postmaster. Don't wait. This worthwhile cause needs your support now. Six Shooter is a transcribed NBC Radio Network production in association with Review Productions. It is based on a character created by Frank Burt and is written by him. Mr. Stewart may currently be seen in the Universal International picture, The Glenn Miller Story. Others in the cast were Virginia Gregg, Harry Bartell, Parley Bear, Joel Cranston, and Barney Phillips. Special music for this program was by Basil Adlam, and the entire production is under the direction of Jack Johnstone. All characters and incidents were fictitious, and any resemblance to actual characters or incidents is purely coincidental. By the way, you'll be interested in knowing that the Six Shooter has been chosen for broadcast to our men overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Services. This is John Wall speaking. Here an address by President Eisenhower, next on the NBC Radio Network.
And I am still looking for some much better recordings of these shows that were done, but sadly so many of them are not as good a quality as I would like. Sad thing, because it's a very good show. 71 years ago, April 22nd, 1954, the Six Shooter here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Let's go back to, get away from the modern westerns and go back to some traditional ones with the Tom Mix Straight Shooters. That's next.
Everyone who works for a living knows that illness or injury may keep them from earning a living. Today, more than 9 out of 10 American workers are covered by Social Security, and each one should know that if he becomes severely disabled, he and his family may be eligible for monthly Social Security disability payments. More than 1 million people are now receiving benefits each month under this program. For more information about Social Security disability benefits, write to Social Security, Department 15, Hollywood 28, California, and ask for a free copy of Booklet 29 called If You Become Disabled.
How do you get much more traditional Western than Tom Mix? We're going to go back all the way 71 years ago to April 22nd. We're going back 78 years to April 22nd, 1947. And the Tom Mix Ralston Straight Shooters and the Mystery of the Woman in Gray.
The Tom Mix Ralston Straight Shooters are on the air. And here comes Tom Mix, America's favorite cowboy.
That's Tony, cowboy! Shredded Ralston for your breakfast. Starts the day all shining bright. Gives you lots of cowboy energy with a flavor that's just right. It's delicious and nutritious, bite-sized and ready to eat. Take a tip from Tom. Go and tell your mom shredded Ralston can't be beat.
The Tom Mix Ralston Straight Shooters bring you another episode in the mystery of the Woman in Gray. It is late afternoon in Tom's office at the TM bar, and...
Oh, off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high into the sky.
In thunderation. Hey, looks like you just crash landed, Wash.
I gotta fix that rug again one of these days.
Well, Mike and I are busy right now, Wash. Did you want something?
Yes, sir, Miss Tom. Can I get me a $5 advance on my salary for this month?
Well, sure.
Yes, you see, I gotta buy me a pair of googles.
A pair of what?
Googles. You know what the birdmen wear when they fly them planes?
You mean goggles?
Yes, that's what I say, Miss Tom, googles.
What in the name of flamethrowers and lead pushers do you want with googles? I mean goggles.
Well, so I can learn to fly.
Learn to fly? Oh, now, Wash, wait
Oh, golly, to goodness, Miss Tom, why not? This here's the air age, ain't it?
Not for you, it ain't.
Well, I begs to disagreement with you, Mr. Mike. Major Ed Wolcott here say anybody can learn to fly, this including me. Yeah, prop wash. That's what they gonna call me from here on. Prop wash.
When did Ed Wilker tell you this, Wash?
Well, when I was over there today, see, he got the field all cleared off, and he got one hangar built already, and he got 2 little bitty old planes, you know, and he say he's gonna take me up and he's gonna show me how to fly.
Say, it sounds like Ed's coming along with the airfield, eh, Tom?
Yes. Well, we'll have to ride out and have a look-see before long. Well, all right, Wash, here's the $5. Now, you better let Mike and me get back to our work.
Yes, sir. I takes off at once. I fly.
Tumbleweeds in Texas, Texas.
I got to fix that runway one of these days, Miss Tom. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high.
Wash me around again, Willie. It's always something new with Wash.
Why not, Mike?
Yes.
Now, let's see. I think we've got the district roundup just about set. Vinegar John will be in charge, and your brother Dan will be segundo in command.
Well, now, hold on a second. I thought you was going to be in charge as usual, Tom.
No, Mike, I've got a feeling that you and I are going to be needed right here in Dobie. There's something wrong, and we've got to find out what it is.
Something wrong, all right. I can't figure what's got into folks. All of them acting like they needed to go out and hunt up something to use for a backbone.
They're scared, Mike. Powerful scared. I've learned something else, too. Caesar Ciano didn't die in that forest fire.
You mean he's still alive?
Yes, very much alive. He was picked up by a forest ranger and taken to the hospital in Capital City. Mike, since I learned this, I've done some further checking up on Ciano. This is what I found out. On his release from prison, he headed straight for Dobie. A good 5 weeks elapsed between the time he left prison and the time he showed up in the Black Mountains. That means he had plenty of time to start something here in Dobie. Results of which we can see now in the faces and actions of our friends here.
Yeah, it kind of makes you feel like you're sitting on a powder keg waiting for it to go off. Yeah, but Tom, what about this woman in gray?
Well, she bothers me too, Mike. I put a tracer on her through the FBI to find out who she is, where she comes from, and what she's up to.
You figure she is up to something then, huh?
She must be, Mike. The way she acted when I talked to her, the little trick she pulled on Angus. Yes, and on me.
Thunderation, Tom. Are you sure they are tricks?
Yes, Mike. Mental telepathy is possible, of course, but not under the conditions she pretended to be using it or in such a dramatic way. No, she's got a trick up her sleeve, and I've got to find out what it is. Because she's using it for something that means trouble.
Look here, Tom.
Yes, Mike?
Tom, I never seen you this worried.
No, Mike, you haven't. For a very good reason. I've never been this worried before.
Worried? Tom has reason to be worried, as we'll learn in a moment. But first, straight shooters, you've probably tried a lot of different cereals, but one of these days your mother's going to bring home a gay red and white checkerboard package with Shredded Ralston written across the front of it. When you open up the package and those crisp, toasty little Shredded Ralston bite-sized biscuits come tumbling out, you're going to say, gee, I never saw a cereal like this before. Then you pour on some milk, and maybe you'll even pile on your favorite fruit. And when you taste the first delicious spoonful, you'll say to yourself, boy, this is it. This is the cereal I've been waiting for. Yes, sir, Shredded Ralston is the cereal everyone gets excited about. It has a flavor so unusual, so different, so popular, the flavor secret is patented. And Shredded Ralston is whole wheat the way you like it, baked into little bite-sized biscuits that fit right on your spoon. It's the cereal your pal Tom Mix recommends to give you cowboy energy, the kind of energy you need to be a leader, a winner, and a real straight shooter. Now, we find ourselves in a room at the hospital in Capital City. A small, dark man with a hard face sits at a window. He wears a blue bathrobe. As he gazes out the window into the distance, the lights of Capital City have begun to twinkle in the late April twilight.
Oh, thank you, nurse.
Hello, Cuticle.
Hello.
It's about time you got here. Sit down, we got lots to talk over. Never mind holding your hand out like that. All you want is for me to look at your beautiful nails.
Well.
But sit down. We got a little time, and the nurse will give us about 10 minutes before she comes in again. How are things going in Dobie?
Well, I knew you'd want to know about that, so I made the rounds of the town today. Now, let me see. I made a list of the people I talked to. Oh, yes, here it is. Old Hickory, George Griswold, Lige Anderson, Nick Caffelio,
Yeah?
Lee Wong, Angus McPhee, Jed Partridge.
That's enough. You made the rounds, and we still got these yokels under our thumbs, eh? Even though I'm not there?
John, if you threw a scare into them, they won't forget. But with Bix back now, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Well, the scare is bound to wear off. You know, like polish off of a nail.
Oh, no, it won't wear off, bright boy. Listen to what I got to say and follow it. I say this modestly. Mickes may be smart, but I got an amazing brain, too. You know what I mean?
Well, I've always said that...
Shut up and listen to my plan. I'm going to control Dobie. Once I control Dobie, it should be an easy matter to force Mix out. Once Mix is forced out, we got the perfect hideout for anybody who wants to use it. You know what I mean?
Well,
a torpedo typewrite some shill, no? It's got to have a place to hide. We got it. We got Tom Mick's old hometown. Anybody think of looking for him here? No. So he comes here, we keep him safe on ice till the heat's off. And he pays plenty. It's a gold mine.
Well, yes, but, Chano, if you're here in the hospital...
I'm not going to be here in the hospital. You're going to get me out.
Get you out?
Yes. You get me released and have me moved to a small private hospital. There's a place right here in Capital City. You can do it. Simple. Once I'm in the private hospital, I can operate without any trouble. You see to it I get a private room, private telephone, all the fixing. Get it?
Yes, I think I do. Oh, I do wish you had an emery board. This nail does bother me.
I know how to fix that nail, Cuticle.
You do?
Yeah. Just fail to do what I'm telling you to do. You won't have anything to worry about after that.
Now, Caesar Ciano, by his own estimate, has a remarkable brain. Perhaps it is remarkable, though the records prove that criminals are never as smart as they think they are. However, we must agree that Caesar Ciano's brain has thought of every angle of his plan, and, obeying the commands of its master, is expertly taking care of all that might be expected to occur. But unfortunately for Caesar Ciano, this remarkable brain of his has failed to take care of the unexpected. How could this brain, for instance, know about the woman in gray? Well, it couldn't. And so it comes about that although Caesar Ciano proposed evil in one direction, the woman in gray disposed evil in quite another. Just how, we'll know in a moment or two. Right now, here's a way to wake up lazy appetites and turn those morning breakfast yawns into ear-to-ear smiles. Just reach for a red and white checkerboard package of shredded Ralston. And when those neat little crisp, toasty, shredded Ralston bite-sized biscuits come tumbling out of the package, watch your family sit up and snap to attention. And when they pour on the milk, heap on their favorite fruit, and dive in, boy, oh boy, you'll hear them sing out for second helpings before they finish their first. Shredded Ralston is a perfect breakfast for busy people. Made of nourishing whole wheat, it's so rich in energy, even a little does a lot for you. And shredded Ralston has a flavor that's out of this world. A flavor so swell, you don't need sugar to enjoy it. Remember the name, it's Shredded Ralston. Once you try it, you'll agree it tastes so grand it makes breakfast the best meal of the day. Now, consider the woman in gray. It's evening in Dobie as she enters the deserted drugstore of our friend, Charlie Frisbee. Listen.
Yes, ma'am? What can I do for you?
Nothing.
Well, you must have come in here for something.
I did, Mr. Frisbee.
Well, what is it you want?
You.
I'm afraid I didn't hear you rightly. I have a splitting headache at the moment.
You heard what I said well enough. I want you.
Well, I don't understand.
You will. Some weeks ago, a man named Cesar Ciano came to this town. You know whom I mean, of course. You should. With threats of death to you and your family, he intimidated you, as he did everyone else in Dobie. Well, I'm here to tell you, Mr. Frisbee, that you need fear Mr. Ciano no longer. You see, I have certain powers which render Mr. Ciano harmless. I shall see to it that he harms neither you nor anyone in Dobie.
Say, who are you? You're strange.
My name is Griselda Gray. I possess the power of making people do anything I want them to do. Consequently, I have only to command for Mr. Ciano to obey.
If this is true, Angus McPhee told me...
Yes. By the same token, Mr. Frisbee, I can also control you.
Oh, you're kidding.
Crudely expressed. Still, a measure of your disbelief. Well, I must convince you of my unique power, as I doubtless suppose I shall be forced to convince all others in this town. Are your nerves strong, Mr. Frisbee?
Not very.
Too bad. I was about to demonstrate the... Well, I can't, of course, not with your nerves in the condition you say they are. I shall content myself with a very small illustration of my power.
Is it that necessary?
Very. Sorry, Mr. Frisbee. Whether your nerves can stand it or not, I'm going to shock you a little.
Just what is going to happen to Charlie Frisbee? Who is the woman in gray, and why has she come to Dobie? Apparently, her presence not only means trouble for Tom, but for Cesar Ciano as well. Don't fail to be with Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters tomorrow for the next episode, a spine-tingling one in The Mystery of the Woman in Gray.
Shredded Ralston for your breakfast starts the day off shining bright. Gives you lots of cowboy energy with a flavor that's just right. It's delicious and nutritious, bite-sized and ready to eat. Take a tip from Tom, go and tell your mom, shredded Ralston can't be beat.
For better breakfasts, it's Ralston. 1, 2, 3. Shredded Ralston, the ready-to-eat bite-sized cereal. Regular Ralston and instant Ralston, the delicious hot cereals. Look for these whole grain cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages. For better breakfasts, it's Ralston. 1, 2, 3. Tom Mix was played by Curly Bradley and written by George Lothar. Don Gordon speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
78 years ago, April 22nd, 1947, the Tom Mix Ralston Straight Shooters here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Nice that we end the show today with a couple of Mutual shows. We'll have the Challenge of the Yukon next.
Do you make it a habit to break the law? If you think not, what sort of driving habits do you have? Figures from the National Safety Council show that about 60% of the fatal traffic accidents each year involve the violation of one or more traffic laws. Many drivers just don't pay attention to the signs. Diamond-shaped, round, and cross-buck signs call for extra caution. Take it easy until the condition they describe has been safely passed. When crossing railroad tracks, watch for that second train you may not have seen. If there are any protective devices like flashing lights, wigwag signals, gates, bells, and lights,
Wait until they stop operating before stepping on the gas. These are your signs of life. Know them. Obey them.
Okay, let's wrap up this Tuesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of The Challenge of the Yukon, going back 81 years to April 22nd, 1944.
The Challenge of the Yukon. The Wonder Dog King, swiftest and strongest of Eskimo lead dogs, blazes the trail through storm and snow for Sergeant Preston as he meets the Challenge of the Yukon. Sergeant Preston was typical of the small band of Northwest Mounted Police who preserved law and order in the new Northwest country, where the greed for wealth and power led to frequent violence and bloodshed. But in spite of the odds against them, Sergeant Preston and his Wonder Dog King met that challenge, and justice ruled triumphant. The Palace Cafe in Dolphin City was owned by Belle Brady, a woman as beautiful as she was shrewd. And beautiful women were not seen often in the Yukon in 1898. She sat listening to a well-dressed man, the light of the oil lamp shining on her flawless skin and catching the glitter of the diamonds sparkling at her throat and wrist. At intervals, her eyes moved to the door of the cafe, sweeping over the tables where men were playing faro and chuck-a-luck for fabulous steaks.
Well, you're not listening to me.
Sure, I heard what you said, Nate. I've heard that story so often I could feel it off myself. Almost word for word.
No. This time it's different, Belle. I tell you, this claim is the richest that's ever been found on the Yukon. Why, it'll turn up so much pay dirt, it'll make your investment the best thing that ever happened to you.
What investment?
Your investment in the claim. Why, with you to grub-stake me, honey...
Now, wait a minute. You're putting the cart before the horse. I'm not grub-staking you this time.
Now, Belle, you're kidding. Well, you could sell that rock you got on your little finger and never miss it. I don't need much.
Now, last time I staked you lost the money in poker. Time before that, you met some friends of yours. Celebrating in Dawson ain't my idea of digging for pay dirt, Nate. I'm interested in charity, but...
Charity? Why, you... Maybe if the Mounty'd come to you asking to be staked, it'd be a different thing, huh?
Sergeant Preston is a gentleman, and what's more, he's honest.
A 2-year-old could see you're sweet on him, Belle. The belle of the palace. Throwing her heart away on a Mountie that won't even look at her.
Yeah? Well, that's no my business, Date. You open your mouth around here once more, and I'll see that you're thrown out of the place.
You're going to be sorry for this, Belle. I'm not forgetting it.
See that you don't. You better have dust in your pocket. Those drinks aren't on the house. You see anything of Sergeant Preston, Shorty?
Not yet.
Thanks. Oh, there he is now. Glad you could come, Sergeant.
We'd have been here sooner, but the Padre couldn't get away.
How are you, Belle?
Can't complain, Padre. Come on over here. I want to talk to both of you. You see, it's like this. I've made a lot of money up here, and by your books, Padre, I guess I haven't been any saint. The way I feel, this country's done a lot for me, and I want to, well, do something for it.
Why, what do you mean, Belle?
Don't know how to go about it or what to do. I sent for you two because I figured you'd know what's needed. I got the cash, and I'll put it in any charity or improvement you agree on.
That's a marvelous gesture, child. And if I might suggest something...
Go ahead, Padre. I was hoping you'd have something to say.
I've known of countless hundreds of men and women who've died of starvation on the remote trails up here. On the more traveled routes, of course, the cases are rare. But if we could establish points along those remote trails where men and women could find food, it would be a great thing. It would save a lot of lives.
You're right, Padre.
You both agree on it, then that's what I'll do. I'll give you the money, and you can go ahead.
Well, it costs quite a bit.
I don't care how much it costs. You and the sergeant here can kind of map out the places where it'd be best to put the food. I'll worry about the rest.
Your unselfishness is very commendable, Belle.
Not much, Padre. Us Bradys never forget a good turn. Yukon's been good to me.
Well, Sergeant, I think the best thing to do would be for us to set up the food caches together. You're more familiar with the trails than I am.
I can be ready to start whenever you are.
I'd like to get going on it immediately.
All right.
King and I can be set to mush tomorrow morning if it's convenient with you.
Fine. I'll see you in the morning about 7 o'clock.
Right.
Well, I've got to get back to my cabin.
Good night, Padre.
Good night,
Good
Padre.
night to both of you.
Well, I think I'll be leaving, too. King and I are going to help on that job of yours, Bill. We have a lot of preparations to make.
Can't they wait? It isn't often I have the chance to talk to you. Besides, I didn't get all dolled up tonight just to show my new dress to the boys.
Well, there's one of them over there who seems very impressed with it.
Nate? He doesn't matter.
We'll stop by to see you before leaving in the morning. Come on, fella.
All right, Sergeant. Good night.
Good night, Bill.
I wasn't very impressed with your generosity. I'd call that a brush-off.
Yeah? Well, nobody's asking your opinion, Nate.
Well, I'm giving it, see. You're willing to feed the hungry lady bountiful, but you won't grub stake me. I'll remember that. And you can take it from me. The Mounty's gonna regret the day he ever laid eyes on you.
A week after Preston and the Padre left Dolphin City, the Mountie halted his dogs on the trail.
Oh, King. Oh, you huskies. Well, Padre, I guess this is where I leave you. You'll be heading back to Dolphin City.
That's right, Sergeant. I'll miss your company in the return trip, but I suppose we'll meet in town soon again.
Well, King and I'll be there in about 9 days, I think. We ought to have enough supplies, but in case we run low, we'll pick some up along the trail.
Exactly what I plan to do. I'll cover ground faster if I don't load the sled with a lot of food. Well, goodbye, Sergeant. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Padre. Same to you. All right, fella?
On King! Come, you huskies!
The Padre turned his sled around and headed back along the trail, while Sergeant Preston, with King leading his dogs, continued toward the country of the Yukon Indians. Few days passed, and the Mountie retraced his way along the trail, unaware of the situation that the Padre was even that moment facing, as he stopped at one of the places where supplies had been left the week before.
I don't understand this. Every place I've stopped expecting to find food, it's been completely bare. Almost as if someone were systematically looting the place. Oh, no, couldn't be that. No one would steal food, every last bit of it. Yet I know it isn't possible for so much food to disappear in a few days. Well, I'll just keep going. Perhaps I'll find some at Logan's Rock.
But at Logan's Rock, there was no food. Nothing had been left. The Padre strained his eyes over the glare of the snow and tried to ignore the hunger he felt.
Dogs can't keep going much longer. I must reach the cabin. It can't be more than 50 miles from here. Surely there'll be something to eat there.
With the courage born of an inner strength, he urged his dogs on. And then, as the cabin loomed before him, he saw smoke coming from the chimney. Approaching, he recognized the supplies stacked outside the door. Slowly, he walked past them.
Well, it ain't the Padre. Looking kind of peaked, too. Come on in and shut the door.
Why are you holding a gun on me?
Just a bit of self-protection, that's all.
I'm not armed, Mr. Silvers. There's no need of that. I want to know what those supplies are doing stacked outside the cabin.
Yeah, I figured you'd ask that question. I'm kind of settling a personal grudge. As soon as the ice breaks, I'll put them in a boat and take them down the river. Make some money on the deal.
No.
That's what I'm going to do, Padre. Neither you nor the money will stop me.
For a second, the Padre thought of the men he'd known who died of starvation on long and bitter trails. And his heart was filled with a fury against the man whose selfishness might deprive others of their lives. His first impulse was to disarm him. Moving quickly, he caught Nate Silvers by surprise.
Boy, you... I'll show you. You can't. The lamp is busted. The place will be on fire.
I'll brain you with this chair, you meddling fool.
Oh.
Now to get out of here.
Before I'm burned alive.
A few moments later, King, running far ahead of Sergeant Preston's pack of dogs, saw Nate Silvers come from the burning cabin. The man carried the gun he had picked up from the floor after he struck the Padre. King jumped, knocking the gun from his hand. Realizing that the Mountie was near the cabin, Nate Silvers ran to where his dogs and sled were waiting.
Mush, you husky! Mush!
And as King hesitated, the sled disappeared through the timber. The great dog sensed that the man who had carried the gun was trying to evade Preston.
Oh, you huskies! Oh! King, did you hear that? That's the Padre. We've got to get him out of there.
King felt that Preston should know about the man who had just fled through the trees. But he sensed, too, that his master's first concern was for his friend trapped inside the blazing cabin. Instantly, he raced toward the building. The smoke was suffocating. The great dog's eyes blurred momentarily. And in the fury of the fire, he stopped, trying to locate the Padre.
Help!
In all his days on the trail, King had never faced such an experience. His feet were scorched as he made his way over to where the trapped man lay on the floor, pulling himself through the smoke. Just as the dog reached him, the man's strength seemed exhausted. He was motionless. And the dog's heart sank with the heavy fear that this friend of his master's might be dead. Slowly, with his teeth in the Padre's coat, King pulled him back toward the door. It was a half hour later. The cabin was a smoldering ruin, but the Mountie, the Padre, and the great dog were safe outside.
He saved my life, Sergeant.
I know, Padre. Good fella, King.
But Silvers, where'd he go?
I found tracks in his gun at the back of the cabin. He's managed to make a getaway. But we're going after him.
And the supplies?
The fire never touched them. As soon as we find Silvers, we'll put them back on the trail. From what you've told me, Padre, that man has a lot to answer for.
King was soon leading Preston's pack of huskies over the trail Silvers had taken. The Padre traveled in the sled while the Mountie rode the runners. 4 days passed, and at a point where the trail turned sharply, King stopped over the body of a man who'd fallen in the snow.
Silvers, Padre.
Oh, is he?
Yes, he's dead. No sign of his sled or dogs. He was on the trail a long time, but it wasn't the cold that killed him.
The mills grind slow, but they grind exceeding small.
Slow? Yes, it was a slow death of starvation for Nate Silvers. When he looted the supplies along the trail, he cut himself off from all food. He was too weak to go any farther. And the cold finished what his greed began. It was a week later. The Padre and the Mountie had made their way back along the trail, restocking the places they had set up for hungry travelers. And at the Palace Cafe in Dolphin City, Belle Brady listened to their story.
I'd never have asked you to do it if I'd known you might have been killed because of a little food.
Little food, child. Remember, a bit of food might have saved Nate Silver's life. He was only one man, Belle. Others will need food just as much, but they'll be different. They'll bless your generosity.
And the Padre was right. Around the warmth of pot-bellied stoves throughout the great North Country, the story was told and retold of how a valiant dog saved the life of one of the men who'd made Belle Brady's unselfish wish a reality. And though the story grew until it became almost a legend, the dog with the devoted heart was deaf to the praise of all men, save one.
Yes, King, old boy. You did a great job.
These copyrighted dramas originate in the studios of WXYZ Detroit, and all characters, names, places, and incidents used are fictitious. They're sent to you each week at the same time. Jack McCarthy speaking. This is the Michigan Radio Network.
81 years ago, April 22nd, 1944, the Challenge of the Yukon, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Got a great week ahead? Keep it right here. Make sure you get all of our podcasts. Follow us at classicradio.stream, and we'll see you tomorrow. For more classic radio theater, I'm Wyatt Cox.